341 Identity exposed. Breathing heavily, Shengguan Wanner's face turned red as she struggled frantically. However, Yi Zan's hand was like an iron vice, and she could not break free. After awakening your special constitution, you should have awakened a lot of your memories. What? Hearing this, Shengguan Wanner's expression changed, and her eyes were filled with shock. Did he know that she was the reincarnation of an ancient great empress? How was this possible? She was stunned. Previously, Yi Zan had identified the fact that she had the undying Zan Huang sword physique, so she knew that his strength had definitely reached a terrifying level. Ever since then, Shengguan Wanner had been worried. She was afraid that Yi Zan would find out that she was a reincarnated expert. Although she was mentally prepared, she was still shocked to hear Yi Zan actually say it. Of course, Yi Zan only knew this due to the system. However, after Shengguan Wanner awakened the undying Zan Huang sword physique, Yi Zan could tell that her aura and demeanor had changed slightly. Yi Zan guessed that it was probably because Shengguan Wanner had awakened part of her memories from her previous life. You even know my identity. Shengguan Wanner muttered in shock as she stared at Yi Zan. When she unconsciously wanted to put some distance between them, she realized that her wrist was still being held by Yi Zan. In the end, Shengguan Wanner stopped struggling. You should have already made preparations, right? Yi Zan looked deeply at Shengguan Wanner before letting go of her hand. Earlier, through the deduction of the power of karma, Yi Zan had already known that Shengguan Wanner would definitely face a calamity related to the sea race. Just now, that feeling had become even clearer. Most importantly, the reason why Shengguan Wanner had attacked the sea race was related to him. However, thanks to her awakening of the undying Zan Huang sword physique, there was now an invisible force that prevented Yi Zan from deducing the specifics. Hearing this, Shengguan Wanner fell silent. Yi Zan was right. She had long been prepared for the exposure of her identity as a reincarnated expert. After all, if a great Emperor realm expert noticed her, they would definitely be able to find clues related to her identity. As a lone cultivator, without a teacher, not only did she have a monstrous talent, but her strength was also extremely terrifying. In addition to her high-level cultivation methods and martial techniques, it was easy to arouse suspicion. Therefore, she had never revealed the full extent of her strength to the outside world. This was in contrast to Yi Zan, whom Zhun Lingtian speculated to be the reincarnation of an ancient almighty expert. His rise to fame and power had been too sudden and abrupt in comparison, and his feats at that level were unheard of. Of course, it was not that no one doubted Shengguan Wanner's origin, especially the masters of the Holy Lands. However, they had no evidence to confirm anything and could only conclude that Shengguan Wanner was just a peerless genius with monstrous talent. Despite her caution, her identity had been discovered by Yi Zan. The most important thing was that not only did Yi Zan discover her identity, but he also knew that she had only awakened part of her memories from her previous life. What did this mean? It meant that Yi Zan knew everything from the very beginning. Do you think I will harm you? Yi Zan looked at Shengguan Wanner and asked. When Shengguan Wanner heard this, her heart suddenly beat faster. I will naturally believe in my teacher. After Shengguan Wanner calmed down her subtle emotions, she raised her head to look at Yi Zan. Shengguan Wanner's expression was very serious. Although Yi Zan liked to tease her, there was no doubt that he was good to her. Whether it was the constant spiritual power infusion, or the gifts of all kinds of rare heavenly treasures, Yi Zan had never been stingy with her. She herself did not know how to repay such kindness. 342 I'm about to leave. Oh, when Yi Zan heard this, he raised his brows slightly and looked at Shengguan Wanner with a mysterious gaze. Perhaps you still trust me now, but once you awaken all of your memories, you may not think the same way anymore. A teacher for a day is a teacher for life. Shengguan Wanner said with a determined look. Oh, why did I remember that the saying was supposed to be a teacher for a day is a father for life? Yi Zan said teasingly. Hearing this, Shengguan Wanner's face stiffened. He wanted to be her father now. Looking at Shengguan Wanner's expression, Yi Zan was amused. All right, I won't tease you anymore. You should stabilize your cultivation foundation since the epiphany hasn't ended yet. 10 days later, head over to the Nanzhou region and do something on my behalf. Yi Zan smiled and stopped teasing Shengguan Wanner. Then, he brought up some serious business. Thanks to the power of karma, Yi Zan knew that the Nanzhou region would be attacked by the sea race and face the threat of destruction. He owed the Gongsun family a favor. If they wanted to survive, they most likely had to use the spiritual sense jade token he had given them. However, Yi Zan was tied up now. The opportunity in the Endless Sea involved the passage to the upper world, and he absolutely could not miss this opportunity. With Shangguan Wan'er's current strength, she would be able to defeat anyone below the King realm. In addition, with the trump cards Yi Zan had left her, even if a great Emperor realm expert made a move, she would be able to survive. Having her handle this matter was the best solution he had. 5 days later, Yi Zan's spiritual sense became stronger, and he once again regained perfect control over his own power. After that, Yi Zan called his disciples over and performed spiritual power infusion, as well as gave them heavenly treasures and cultivation resources. Based on what the power of karma told him, he would be leaving the Tianyuan continent soon. At that time, he would not be able to accompany his disciples any longer. Before that, Yi Zan had to do his best to give them powerful trump cards and improve the strength of his disciples as much as possible. However, the spiritual power in Yi Zan's Dantian was as vast as the ocean, no less than that of a second-level great emperor. Among his disciples, only Shangguan Wan'er, who had awakened the undying Zan Huang sword physique, could withstand a little more spiritual power than the other three. Ding. As the host has infused spiritual power into his disciple, amounting to 1,188 days worth of cultivation, the host has received a randomized 16x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has obtained 19,008 days worth of cultivation. Ding. As the host has infused spiritual power into his disciple, amounting to 1,887 days worth of cultivation, the host has received a randomized 36x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has obtained 67,932 days worth of cultivation. Ding. As the host has infused spiritual power into his disciple, amounting to 2,000 days worth of cultivation, the host has received a randomized 35x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has obtained 70,000 days worth of cultivation. Ding. As the host has infused spiritual power into his disciple, amounting to 7,884 days worth of cultivation, the host has received a randomized 19x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has obtained 149,796 days worth of cultivation. After the spiritual power infusions, Yi Zan's strength increased greatly again. Even among second-level great emperors, he was definitely one of the strongest. After that, it was time for the other stuff. Ding. As the host has given his disciple the Supreme Emperor Divine Pill 8th grade pill to his disciple, the host has received a randomized 3x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has obtained the Dragon Transformation Divine Pill 8th grade pill. Ding. As the host has given his disciple the Dragon Transformation Divine Pill 8th grade pill. Ding. As the host has taught his disciple the Freedom Spiritual Sense Tempering Technique, the host has received a randomized 18x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has obtained the Great Freedom Spiritual Sense Tempering Technique. Yi Zan continued to give and teach them stuff. There was an extremely high chance that he would leave the Tianyuan continent, and would not meet again for a long time. His disciples were quite confused by his actions. Although they knew that their teacher was a human-shaped mobile treasure vault, he had never given them so many rare treasures at once before. It was a shocking amount. My precious disciples, I might have to leave the Tianyuan continent soon, Yi Zan explained. When they heard this, they froze. What? Teacher was leaving the Tianyuan continent? Could it be that his cultivation level was about to break through the shackles of the Great Emperor realm and ascend? You should all know that if one wants to leave the Tianyuan continent, one must surpass the shackles of the Great Emperor realm. However, I have another way to leave. My time with the Tianyuan continent ends here. The upper world is where I must go next, Yi Zan said with a smile. But you don't have to worry. With the heavenly treasures and cultivation resources of left behind, you'll definitely be able to reach the Great Emperor realm in the future. Perhaps one day, we will be reunited. Among his current disciples, other than Shangguan Wan'er, who was rather powerful, the others were comparatively weaker, though not in terms of potential. Each and every one of them had the potential to reach the Great Emperor realm. Furthermore, with the life-saving trump cards he left behind, even a third-level Great Emperor would not be able to harm them. My precious disciples, I'll be waiting for you in the upper world. In the future, you must cultivate well and never relax. Yi Zan saw the reluctance in his disciples' eyes and his heart was filled with emotion. Through the power of karma, Yi Zan could vaguely see the future of the Tianyuan continent. There were 4 great empresses with terrifying auras suppressing the era and leading the human race to become the absolute ruler of the Tianyuan continent. Not only that, Shangguan Wanner would comprehend the highest level of slaughter intent and become the terrifying Empress of Slaughter. After that, because of him, she almost annihilated the sea race alone. 343 Crisis in the Nanzhou region. Teacher. Zhao Yuyan looked at Yi Zan with teary eyes. Out of the group, Zhao Yuyan was the youngest, and the time she had spent cultivating was also the shortest. Most of the time, she was with Yu and Li Qingyan. The moment she learned that Yi Zan was about to leave the Tianyuan continent, Zhao Yuyan's heart was filled with reluctance and sadness. Before Yi Zan left, he was either cultivating in seclusion. Although his secluded cultivation might have lasted years, things were different now. Once Yi Zan left the Tianyuan continent, she would not know when she would meet him again. Silly girl, you're already an adult, why do you still love to cry? Yi Zan looked at Zhao Yuyan helplessly. After all these years of cultivating, and with the help of Yu and Li Qingyan, Zhao Yuyan's personality had changed quite a bit. She no longer blamed herself for having harmed others due to the demon devourer body, and was no longer easily bullied. However, her tendency to cry had never changed. Zhao Yuyan could not hold back the sadness in her heart and started crying. She threw herself into his arms. Teacher, can you not leave? Or can you take me with you, teacher? Zhao Yuyan's voice was choked. This girl did not trust many people due to her childhood traumas. Other than her mother, she was closest to Yi Zan, Yu, and a few others. To Zhao Yuyan, not only was Yi Zan her teacher, he was like a father to her. He had completely changed her fate. Silly girl. In the future, when I'm not around, you can't keep crying. Besides, I can't be by your side forever. You have to learn to grow on your own. As long as you cultivate diligently, you'll naturally be able to see me in the upper world in the future. Yi Zan reached out and gently wiped away the tears from the corners of Zhao Yuyan's eyes. Teacher, I will definitely cultivate diligently. I will definitely ascend to the upper world to find you. Zhao Yuyan looked up at Yi Zan with her teary eyes, her expression firm. I believe that my precious disciple will definitely be able to do it. Yi Zan smiled and patted the latter's head. Although Yu and Li Qingyan did not say anything, their hearts were also filled with reluctance. Given their current cultivation levels, it would take them at least several hundred years, perhaps even 1,000, to surpass the great emperor realm. However, they were clear that they could not hinder their teacher's cultivation path. Teacher is right. He can't stay by our side forever. We have to learn to grow on our own. Beside him, Shangguan Wanner was looking at Yi Zan deeply, seemingly wanting to say something, but holding back. Silly girl. Don't be so sad. You're going to make me cry. The path of cultivation has always been one of separation and independence. After leaving me, you will grow stronger and walk your own path. Yi Zan smiled and comforted her. After that, Yi Zan moved the Qingyan sect out and had Shangguan Wanner put it into the imprisonment divine tower. The cultivation environment in these divine towers was far better than in the outside world, as the divine towers contained dense spiritual energy. Furthermore, some of them even contained martial intents. In the past few years in the Tower of Heaven, the cultivation levels of the Qingyan sect cultivators had already undergone a major transformation. Through the power of karma, Yi Zan knew that only one person could pass through the realm passageway. He could not leave with his disciples, much less bring the Qingyan sect along. After learning that Yi Zan was about to leave, his disciples no longer had the mood to cultivate and stuck to Yi Zan every day. 5 days passed quickly. Wanner, you should set off. Yi Zan gazed into the distant space, and a mysterious light flashed across his eyes. As soon as he finished speaking, Shangguan Wanner, who had been cultivating, suddenly opened her eyes, which flashed with sharp sword qi. She wanted to return to the Nanzhou region to kill the sea race experts and repay part of the debt she had to Yi Zan. Wait, just as Shangguan Wanner was about to turn and leave, Yi Zan called out to her. Shangguan Wanner turned around, her gaze landing on Yi Zan. Remember, after I leave, you must protect you and the others. Don't be impulsive. Yi Zan smiled, and then, under Shangguan Wanner's gaze, his figure suddenly disappeared. Teacher. When Shangguan Wanner saw this, she muttered to herself in a daze. Teacher. Yu, Li Qingyan, and Zhao Yuyan also called out reluctantly. However, Yi Zan had really left. Teacher is gone. I should go do what needs to be done. After a brief pause, Shangguan Wanner's body transformed into a streak of lightning and disappeared. At the same time, the imprisonment divine tower also disappeared. Thanks to the sea race's invasion, countless people died, and the Tianwu zone soon fell. Within the Nanzhou region, many empires had fallen, together with their respective experts. They were vastly outnumbered by the Sea Race army. In the Nanzhou region, in order to slow down the advance of the Sea Race army, the myriad Swords Hall, Gongsun family, and other major factions all joined forces and gathered together to resist the Sea Race's invasion. The land was filled with the stench of blood, and countless cultivators were engaged in a frenzied battle. Furious roars and screams could be heard everywhere. 344 The last trump card. The war between the two races destroyed everything in its path and turned everything into dust. This was especially so for the weaker cultivators. Before they could even react, they were already torn to pieces by the attacks that were flying left and right. Even the ordinary people could not escape annihilation. Damn it, the Sea Race's attack is too fierce. We can't resist them. I'm afraid it won't be long before the Nanzhou region falls. The sigh of an expert could be heard. He was a 5th-level Unity Realm cultivator from the Gongsun family. Currently, the various major forces had lost countless experts. In the long run, they might be completely annihilated. As for small and medium-sized empires like the Great Qian dynasty, they had long been drowned in the endless numbers of the Sea Race army. Kiki, why are you humans even trying to struggle? How can puny humans like you resist the power of the Sea Race? Oh right, for you pattern condensation realm cultivators, if you lay down your arms and surrender, we'll spare your lives and make you our guard dogs. An expert from the sea sneered. They had been very nervous about the attack on the Nanzhou region, which was Yizan's homeland. However, what puzzled them was that after so many years, there was no sign of Yizan at all. The most important thing was that the Sea Race had once used Saint King realm experts to search for traces of Yizan, but they had found nothing, which made them even more afraid of Yizan's strength. However, they did not dare to disobey the orders of the Dragon Race's Great Emperor realm expert. Therefore, in order to avoid any sudden changes, they planned to conquer the Nanzhou region as quickly as possible. However, the human race had shown unusual unity in times of crisis. The various major forces resisted the Sea Race's attacks repeatedly. Although the Sea Race had taken over most of the Nanzhou region, there was still a pocket of territory that was holding on and defending stoutly. Damn it, is the Nanzhou region really going to be occupied by the Sea Race? A Zug family 8th-level Unity Realm expert clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. Although cultivators from other regions had come here to reinforce them, it was still insufficient to resist the Sea Race's endless numbers. Currently, it would take a miracle to save the Nanzhou region. Do I really have to use that favor? A huge flood dragon gravely wounded the body of an old man. However, as the thick life force within his divine elements surged out, the old man's body quickly recovered. And that old man was an elder from the Gongsun family, and a 5th-level Unity Realm cultivator. Everyone fell silent after hearing the old man's words. They naturally knew about the incident about the Nether God sect, and the fact that the Gongsun family had received the promise of a favor from Yizan in exchange for their help. However, Yizan's strength was so terrifying that this favor was too precious. We haven't reached that stage yet. The elder of the Gongsun family erupted with strength as he fought the flood dragon. The jade token Yizan had given them was the last trump card of the Gongsun family, and they would never use it unless it was a life and death situation. Human, you're pretty strong. A Yaksha expert with a terrifying aura suddenly joined the battle, swinging his trident at him. Fine, I'll take you both on. The elder of the Gongsun family performed a number of hand seals to activate a martial technique to fight them. With the passage of time, the war between the two races became more and more intense, and the situation of the human race became more and more tenuous. Suddenly, space rippled, and a spatial crack appeared. Zhun Lingtian strode forward, his body covered in both his blood, as well as that of the Sea Race experts he had fought. Don't use the jade token yet. Zhun Lingtian wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth and looked at the Grand Elder of the Gongsun family not far away. The Grand Elder was fighting with a flood dragon, and the fluctuations from their battle made their surroundings tremble. It was the Grand Elder of the Gongsun family who had helped Yizan back then. He was also the person in possession of the jade token. The Grand Elder nodded. Although Yizan's strength was terrifying and could even crush a large group of Sea Race King Realm experts, he was still a single person. Even if he appeared, he might not be able to change the fate of the Nanzhou region. Of course, his appearance would make a large difference, but the jade token was the final hope and trump card of the Nanzhou region, so there was no way he could waste it at this point. However, the situation was becoming more and more dire. As time passed, more and more territories in the Nanzhou region fell. Meanwhile, the Grand Elder's injuries were getting more and more serious. Even though he was a half-step pattern condensation realm expert, he was fighting against 2 10th level Unity realm experts and 5 level grade Unity realm experts. Even when he asked for help, everyone was facing the same odds. They were all held back by the huge number of C-race experts. Waves of powerful energy struck the Grand Elder's body. Cracks appeared on his golden armored body, and his bone-deep wounds were ravaged by violent energy. 345 I'm here on teacher's orders. Ah! The Grand Elder let out a furious roar toward the sky. His white hair stood on end, and his eyes glowed with divine light. However, his aura was gradually getting weaker and weaker. And as time passed, more and more human race experts fell. The C-race experts swarmed the remaining human cultivators. Detestable. If this continues, we'll all die. Damn it. The C-race's attack is too fierce. I'm afraid the Nanzhou region can no longer hold on. The Grand Elder's expression was extremely unsightly. Not far away, Junlingtian had also suffered considerable injuries, and the number of pattern condensation realm experts surrounding him was increasing. At this moment, a powerful aura suddenly manifested itself, as a yaksha made his presence known. Lightning Tribulation Realm. The expressions of the human experts changed drastically when they saw this. They could sense the power of tribulation lightning brewing within the yaksha's body. The power of tribulation lightning contained the power of the natural laws of the Tianyuan continent. The Lightning Tribulation Realm was the realm between the King Realm and the Pattern Condensation Realm. That being said, most Lightning Tribulation Realm cultivators chose to cultivate in seclusion. The reason was very simple. Tribulation lightning was affected by karma. If they accumulated too much negative karma, the tribulation lightning they faced during their 3 tribulations would likely become unbearable, and they would perish. Don't worry. Although he's powerful, he definitely won't make a move. While the human experts were shocked, they believed that the yaksha would not make a move. However, moments later, they were proven wrong. The yaksha expert slowly raised his hand, and the trident in his hand erupted with monstrous divine might. The power of lightning filled the surroundings, as if trying to devour everything. As 2 dazzling bolts of lightning flashed past, 2 human pattern condensation realm experts died instantly. Seeing this, Junlingtian's pupils involuntarily contracted, and a sense of uneasiness welled up in his heart. Why did it feel like this lightning tribulation realm yaksha was unafraid of tribulation lightning? Before they could even react, the yaksha expert killed another pattern condensation realm expert. Damn it. Seeing this, Junlingtian roared in anger. However, the number of C-race experts surrounding him was simply too great. He could barely keep himself safe as it was. Moreover, even if he did extricate himself from their encirclement, he would not be able to defeat that lightning tribulation expert. Buzz. Another pattern condensation realm expert died at the hands of the yaksha expert, following which 10 9th level Unity realm experts were annihilated by a swing of his trident. At this moment, the yaksha expert raised the trident in his hand again, and his gaze fell on the Grand Elder. Curses. The Grand Elder's expression changed drastically as he felt a sense of dread wash over him. He knew that he was next. No, I can't die. I don't want to die. Facing the threat of death, the Grand Elder moved to take out the jade token from his storage ring without any hesitation. However, just as he was about to crush the jade token, he found that he could not move his body. It was not only him. Even the lightning tribulation realm yaksha felt a terrifying pressure descend on him, causing his speed to decrease rapidly. A huge crack suddenly appeared in the sky, which spat out terrifying bolts of lightning. Moments later, a streak of lightning flashed by, and a beautiful figure appeared in the sky. The woman stared at the yaksha realm expert expressionlessly. A divine sword suddenly appeared in her hand. Buzz. It was just a simple sword strike, but the world suddenly lost color. The yaksha expert had no time to reach and was instantly devoured by her sword chi. His body and soul were reduced to dust, never to rise again. In an instant, the surroundings fell silent. I'm here on teacher's orders to destroy the sea race and protect the human race's territory. The person was none other than Shangguan Wanner. It's her. Shangguan Wanner, the master of the Luo Heaven Palace. Many of the people who had come to support the Nanzhou region were experts from the Miaoling region, and they quickly recognized Shangguan Wanner. Wait, was that heavenly lightning intent? When had Shangguan Wanner comprehended a supreme intent? Furthermore, it was to the level where it was engraved as a profound pattern. A strange light flashed across Junlingtian's eyes. 346 I will protect teacher's homeland. This sword chi. Has she comprehended perfect level sword intent and engraved it into a profound pattern? Zhao Yuzhen's eyes were filled with shock. The sword intent contained with Shangguan Wanner's casual attack had overwhelmed him. The Lightning Tribulation Realm expert, who had up till then been wreaking havoc among the human race's experts, had been slain instantly. Put away Teacher's jade token. I will protect Teacher's homeland, Shangguan Wanner said indifferently. She was dressed in white and looked extraordinary. Her body was filled with an otherworldly aura. Although Shangguan Wanner did not look at the Grand Elder, he knew that she was talking to him. As my lady commands. The Grand Elder subconsciously nodded. His expression was a little dazed as he put away the jade token. If Shangguan Wanner had not appeared just now, he would have been dead, without even the chance to crush the jade token. It was no longer a secret that Shangguan Wanner had acknowledged Yizan as her teacher. Though it had confused many people at first, when Yizan killed the Sea Race King Realm experts in the spatial turbulence, everyone finally understood. This guy had concealed his strength so well. Destroy the Sea Race. Protect the Nanzhou region. You're quite arrogant. At this moment, a huge spatial crack suddenly appeared in the sky. Then, a powerful flood dragon emerged from the depths of the spatial turbulence. Another Lightning Tribulation Realm expert. Everyone was shocked by this. Why were Lightning Tribulation Realm experts showing up now? Furthermore, this one seemed even stronger than the last. I love killing geniuses. Today, your head will be added to my tally. Moments later, another Lightning Tribulation Realm Yaksha expert appeared from the spatial crack. Boom, boom, boom. As the surroundings trembled, another 3 extremely powerful Sea Race Lightning Tribulation Realm experts appeared. In total, there were 5 Sea Race Lightning Tribulation Realm experts. 2 flood dragons, 1 Yaksha, and the other 2 were a demonic whale and a merman. The aura they exuded as a group was simply overwhelming. Damn it, aren't they worried about karma affecting their tribulations? Why were they so fearless? No matter if it was the human race, the sea race, or any other race, only cultivators who had undergone heavenly tribulations could achieve perfect physical bodies and become king realm experts. Heavenly tribulations had 3 stages, which were the tribulations of heaven, earth, and human. If it was a demonic cultivator, then it would be the demon tribulation in the place of the human tribulation. Under the tempering power of the terrifying tribulation lightning, the cells in the cultivator's body would be constantly destroyed and then reborn. Only after undergoing the tempering would they have passed the heavenly tribulation. However, if they made the slightest mistake during this process, their body and soul would be destroyed. The second tribulation was also known as the Netherworld Tribulation, as it involved the energy of the Netherworld formed by tens of thousands of evil spirits, and contained the resentment and obsession of countless dead souls. If an expert's body was contaminated by negative karma, they would be prone to suffering chi deviation during this tribulation and dying as a result. The third tribulation also involved tribulation lightning, and one had to withstand the power of tribulation lightning from the 9 heavens in order to truly sublimate one's physical body and become a king realm expert. Although each tribulation was extremely dangerous, the benefits one could obtain from transcending the tribulations were self-evident. This was especially so for the third tribulation, which was divided into different levels depending on the number and type of profound patterns that a cultivator had engraved during the pattern condensation realm. The higher the level of the third tribulation, the more benefits one would obtain. In this case, the one who had died to Shangguan Wanner's first attack had been a Lightning Tribulation Realm expert who had just passed the first tribulation, whereas these 5 had all passed the second tribulation. The flood dragon with the golden horn on his head was also soon to face the third tribulation. Their aura overwhelmed the human race's experts. With their current strength, they would be annihilated if they were to face these Lightning Tribulation Realm experts. Of course, this did not hold true for Shangguan Wanner. Ever since she had become Yizan's disciple, Shangguan Wanner's strength had soared. The eyes of the 5 Sea Race Lightning Tribulation Realm experts were filled with monstrous killing intent. Terrifying energy waves swept out as they surrounded Shangguan Wanner. At the same time, they all took out their artifacts and weapons. However, Shangguan Wanner's expression remained very indifferent the entire time. Die, human. A flood dragon smiled cruelly as his long spear erupted with black light, stabbing toward Shangguan Wanner. The spear strike was like the eye of a hurricane, concentrating the power it gathered at its tip. Seeing this, Shangguan Wanner slowly raised the longsword in her hand. Bright sword chi flashed, blinding everyone. It was as if the entire world had gone dark. 347 overpowered. It was followed by a cracking sound. No. At the same time, an incredulous roar was suddenly heard. When everyone's vision recovered, the flood dragon that had attacked just now was nowhere to be seen. Only ashes remained, slowly scattering into the surroundings. How is this possible? How can her strength be so terrifying? The rest of the Lightning Tribulation Realm experts narrowed their eyes in shock. The flood dragon had not been able to withstand even one strike. If they had only been slightly surprised by Shangguan Wanner's strength earlier, now all that was left in their hearts was fear. Human, what cultivation level have you reached? The Lightning Tribulation Realm Yaksha expert asked with a serious expression. Shangguan Wanner did not have the aura of a Lightning Tribulation Realm expert, or the terrifying pressure of a King Realm expert, so how could she have such terrifying strength? Shangguan Wanner's response was another sword strike. The sound of the sword strike seemed to resonate with the world. The dazzling power of heavenly lightning was fused with the sword chi. The Merman Lightning Tribulation Realm expert died. No, before he was swallowed by the sword chi, the Merman expert let out an unwilling cry of despair. Ever since he had broken through to the Lightning Tribulation Realm, he had been cultivating in seclusion in the Endless Sea. He wanted to survive the tribulations and enter the King Realm as soon as possible. However, not long ago, a Saint King Realm expert from the Sea Race had personally sought him out and promised him that if he fought for the Sea Race, they would give him a fragment of a holy artifact. Holy artifact fragments had the ability to shield one against the power of karma, so it was extremely tempting to Lightning Tribulation Realm cultivators. After all, the reason why Lightning Tribulation experts did not participate in any conflicts was that they were afraid of accumulating negative karma that would affect the power of the tribulations. However, he had never expected to die even before he could use the holy artifact fragment. The fusion of sword intent and heavenly lightning intent utterly annihilated that Merman expert. Buzz. At that moment, the space around Shangguan Wanner was suddenly torn apart, and a bright beam of light burst out, piercing toward Shangguan Wanner. It was the Yaksha's trident. However, the moment he launched his attack, he immediately turned around and fled frantically into the spatial turbulence. Unfortunately, he was no match for her in terms of speed, given that she could transform into a lightning bolt. A bright purple light flashed, and Shangguan Wanner's figure reappeared next to the Yaksha, accompanied by another terrifying sword strike. Another Lightning Tribulation Realm expert died. Then, she made short work of the rest. There was deathly silence in the surroundings. Both the humans and the Sea Race were stunned. Her majestic figure was deeply engraved into everyone's minds. How could this woman's strength be so terrifying? Zhun Lingtian's heart was filled with shock when he saw this. The Divine Gate Holy Land had wanted to recruit her back then, so they naturally knew her strength. At that time, many elders had guessed that she had most likely hidden her strength, but even so, it should not have reached such an outrageous level, right? Impossible. Her current strength was definitely related to Yi Zan. A strange light flashed across the depths of Zhun Lingtian's eyes. Yi Zan is indeed a monster, but isn't his ability to teach disciples a little too outrageous? How does he do it? At the thought of this, Zhun Lingtian's heart was filled with doubt. The other human experts had similar thoughts. Many years had passed, and although Yi Zan had not shown himself, news of him had been spreading throughout the Tianyuan continent. It had also become known that anyone who became his disciple would definitely have their strength advance by leaps and bounds, to a shocking extent. The strength that Shangguan Wanner displayed just now had merely confirmed the information. Yi Zan. The figure of a certain person appeared in everyone's mind. Young, monstrous talent, and extremely powerful. Even the Sea Race's King Realm experts were helpless against him. Buzz. At this moment, a power that made the world tremble suddenly spread out. In an instant, a giant spatial crack appeared, and a long golden spear appeared, stabbing toward Shangguan Wan. At the same time, someone's killing intent locked onto Shangguan Wanner. Seeing this, Shangguan Wanner's expression did not change at all. She did not raise her longsword in her hand, and did not seem to have any intention of blocking. 348A Saint King Realm expert takes action. Clang. At that moment, an ancient aura suddenly appeared, and an ancient bronze bell enveloped Shangguan Wanner, blocking the golden spear. The two powerful forces clashed, and the shockwaves injured the surrounding cultivators. You've crossed the line. A cold voice suddenly rang out, and a white-haired old man suddenly appeared. Ancestor. Zhun Lingtian's eyes lit up. This white-haired elder was the ancestor of the Divine Gate Holy Land, Zhun Xuantian. Zhun Xuantian's gaze fell on the flood dragon. The flood dragon emerged from the spatial crack and appeared in the sky. A heavenly King Realm expert. Everyone's expression changed when they saw this. With their cultivation levels, they were naturally unable to detect Jun Xuantian's and the Flood Dragon's cultivation levels. However, they knew that Jun Xuantian was a Heavenly King realm expert, therefore, someone who could face him head-on and not be at a disadvantage was naturally equally as strong. HMPH. It's you humans who broke the rules. The eyes of the Flood Dragon were filled with monstrous killing intent. First, Yi Zan killed our King realm experts. Now, someone from your human race has disguised their cultivation level and attacked our cultivators below the King realm. Jun Xuantian, do you really think I wouldn't make a move? Quote. Earlier, a Sea-Race Saint King realm had given the order to kill all cultivators below the King realm in the Wangyu zone. By doing so, he hoped to occupy the Wangyu zone sooner, but he also hoped to draw Yi Zan out. Therefore, the Sea-Race had sent many Lightning Tribulation realm experts to hide in the spatial turbulence. At the right moment, they would emerge and kill all the human experts. Hopefully, that would get Yi Zan to make an appearance. As long as Yi Zan made the slightest move, the Saint King realm expert hidden in the spatial turbulence would strike as fast as lightning and kill Yi Zan. However, what they did not expect was that someone else would suddenly appear. They could sense that Shangguan Wanner's cultivation level had reached the King realm. However, she was no weaker than a human King realm expert. In order to test the waters, a Heavenly King realm expert had personally taken action. As such, in the eyes of the Sea-Race experts, Shangguan Wanner must have used some sort of secret technique to hide her true strength, disguising herself to participate in the war between the two races. However, what puzzled the Heavenly King realm Flood Dragon was that even he could not tell what sort of secret technique that Shangguan Wanner was using. I've always been frank and honest. Why would I need to disguise myself? You might think that you're powerful, but you're nothing but an ant in my eyes, Shangguan Wanner said indifferently. During this war, it's already been agreed that King realm cultivators can't interfere in the war. Now that you humans have broken the rules again, I won't tolerate it. The eyes of the Flood Dragon were filled with monstrous killing intent. Regardless of whether Shangguan Wanner had hidden her strength, or whether she was really only a pattern condensation realm cultivator, she had indeed engraved the Heavenly Lightning profound pattern. As such, he could not allow her to live, lest she cause a calamity for the Sea-Race in the future. The Heavenly King realm Flood Dragon took a step forward and disappeared. Moments later, a huge hole appeared in the sky. His huge golden spear stabbed toward Shangguan Wanner with destructive power. Clang! Jun Xuantian snorted coldly and waved his sleeves. The ancient bronze bell collided with the golden spear. Clang! 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 The two terrifying forces collided with each other, and the sound of their collisions resounded in the sky. Seconds later, the two of them tore space apart and began a crazy battle in the depths of the spatial turbulence. Boom! At that moment, a huge palm appeared in the sky and tried to smack Shangguan Wanner, following which, a saber strike split the sky and shattered the palm. If the Sea-Race wants to break the rules, then be prepared for the consequences. The voice of a human expert suddenly rang out. HMPH. It's you humans who broke the rules first, so why are you trying to push the responsibility on us? Then, a vast spiritual pressure suddenly descended. Everyone could feel an invisible force as heavy as a mountain weighing down on them. A Saint King realm expert. Jun Lingtian's expression changed drastically. It was obvious that this Saint King realm expert from the Sea-Race wanted to kill Shangguan Wanner. HMPH. Shangguan Wanner is Yi Zan's disciple. Do you really want to offend Yi Zan? At the same time, a mighty voice suddenly rang out. It's Master. Jun Lingtian's expression turned grave. The person confronting the Sea-Race Saint King realm expert was the Master of the Divine Gate Holy Land. 349 A mere Saint King realm cultivator dares to touch my disciple. However, the Master of the Divine Gate Holy Land was being held back by another Sea-Race Saint King realm expert, and he could not spare any effort to rescue Shangguan Wanner. The Saint King realm expert who had just attacked was the one who had been hiding in the depths of the spatial turbulence, waiting to deal with Yi Zan. However, Yi Zan did not show up. Instead, Shangguan Wanner had come. Seeing that Shangguan Wanner's strength might tip the scales of battle below the King realm, and her boundless potential, he decided to make a move. Do you think she'll be able to survive once I take action? A cold smile appeared on the Saint King realm expert's face as terrifying power radiated from his body. Although Yi Zan did not appear, killing his disciple was not a bad result either. This Saint King realm expert was a brawny man, and every inch of his skin was filled with ghostly power. There were even strange lines on his forehead. He was a demonic whale expert, but he was currently fighting in human form. He stretched out his hands and clapped. Two huge palms that covered the sky closed in on Shangguan Wanner. Locked on by the Saint King Realm expert's spiritual sense, Shangguan Wanner would not be able to escape. However, in the face of such terrifying and monstrous divine might, Shangguan Wanner's expression was calm, and she did not panic at all. Teacher, she muttered as a jade token appeared in her hand, which she then crushed. Boom. Moments later, a terrifying power that made the world tremble suddenly erupted. A terrifying phantom figure suddenly appeared behind Shangguan Wanner. The phantom figure had its hands behind its back and was looking at the Saint King Realm expert with an indifferent expression. Then, it reached out its hand and flicked the empty air in front of it gently, shattering the attack. Yi Zan. When the Saint King Realm expert saw this, his eyes were filled with shock. This was a phantom condensed by Yi Zan's spiritual sense. A mere Saint King Realm cultivator dares to attack my disciple. Yi Zan's phantom figure indifferently looked at the brawny man, and a strange light flashed across his eyes. Moments later, the brawny Saint King Realm expert spat out a mouthful of blood as if he had been struck by lightning. How is this possible? How can you be so powerful? The Saint King Realm expert's eyes were filled with shock. He knew that the phantom figure only contained a portion of Yi Zan's power. This meant that the other party's strength had exceeded the Saint King Realm. Was this guy not supposed to be a heavenly King Realm cultivator? He had clearly reached the Great Emperor Realm. Great Emperor Realm. This was the absolute pinnacle of the Tianyuan continent. Every Great Emperor Realm expert was an old monster that had lived for hundreds of thousands of years. However, Yi Zan's name had only started popping up in recent years. It was as if he had appeared out of thin air. From their investigation, this guy was also only in his 20s. Just who was this guy? At that moment, Yi Zan's phantom figure pointed his finger, and an invisible force suddenly imprisoned the Saint King Realm expert. Seeing this, the Saint King Realm expert erupted with a tremendous amount of power. However, no matter how he struggled, he could not break free. Impossible. Why can't I break free? The Saint King Realm expert's eyes were filled with disbelief. Although the Great Emperor Realm was powerful, this was only a phantom figure. It should not be able to exert this much power. Wait, was this the fusion of spatial and strength intent? His body trembled. At this moment, he finally understood why Yi Zan could easily imprison him. As an old monster who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years, he naturally had a lot of time to comprehend supreme intents, but he had only comprehended first-level spatial and strength intents. However, that was his limit. After failing to make any headway into these supreme intents, he focused his efforts on other martial intents, as it would be more productive. After all, supreme intents had extremely strict requirements on a cultivator's comprehension ability. Even non-supreme intents, when comprehended to a high level, would also be able to release a tremendous amount of power, especially when engraved as a profound pattern. Even those in the lightning tribulation realm were constantly comprehending the power of the laws of the world. Only by passing the tribulations could one become a King Realm expert. 350 Destruction Intent. However, most cultivators did not know that there was an extremely harsh condition for one to truly reach the King Realm, which was to achieve perfect level intent. Only then would they be able to fully fuse the power of the laws of the world into their profound pattern. The categorization of King Realm experts was also in relation to this. Those who had successfully comprehended one perfect level martial intent were considered early-stage human King Realm cultivators. 2 perfect level martial intents would be the middle stage, and 3 perfect level martial intents would be the advanced stage. If one wanted to break through to the heavenly King Realm, they would have to fuse the martial intents. Those who were able to fuse 2 were either early stage or middle stage heavenly King Realm cultivators, while those with 3 were advanced stage heavenly King Realm experts. As for the Saint King Realm, one could only reach it by truly comprehending the profound power of the laws which was contained in the profound patterns they engraved. However, the cultivators of the pattern condensation realm could only use the profound power of the laws to attack. Saint King Realm experts were able to completely control the power of the laws. Those who could control 36% of the laws were known as early-stage Saint King Realm experts. Controlling 72% made one a middle-stage Saint King Realm expert, and 100% made one an advanced-stage Saint King Realm expert. This brawny Saint King Realm expert was an early-stage Saint King Realm cultivator. The reason he had been able to break through to the Saint King Realm was because he could control 36% of the laws of the sea. Boom! His eyes glowed with a dazzling blue light as the space around him rippled. Moments later, he transformed into a demonic whale, and immediately dived into the sea below. He wanted to use the laws of the sea to shatter the spatial cage that Yizan had set up. However, no matter how hard he tried, he could not. You are too weak. With your strength, you actually dared to attack my disciple. You've clearly overestimated yourself. Yizan's voice rang out. Although he had not spoken loudly, his voice was clearly transmitted throughout the Nanzhou region, and even the Wangyu zone. At that moment, the King Realm experts from the two races stopped fighting as they directed their attention toward the battlefield where Yizan's phantom figure and the demonic whale were. They had never expected Yizan to be so powerful that even a Saint King Realm expert was no match for him. A mountain-sized hole appeared on the huge demonic whale's body. Ah! The demonic whale roared, and its surging aura was thrown into disarray. Its eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness. Destroy! Yizan looked at the demonic whale indifferently. As soon as he finished speaking, a red beam of light containing destruction intent suddenly descended. No, not only had this guy grasped spatial and strength intents, but also destruction intent. What kind of monster was this? In addition to the heavenly lightning intent that they knew he had, there were now 3 more. Had he comprehended all of the supreme intents? Unfortunately, he would never know. Once the red beam touched its body, the demonic whale felt its body and soul disintegrating. At this moment, the demonic whale's heart was filled with fear, and its soul could not help but tremble. He wanted to kneel down and beg for mercy. He still wanted to live. However, Yizan did not give him that opportunity, and the red beam expanded quickly. The demonic whale felt its entire body become light as a feather before it instantly turned into nothingness. Not even ashes remained. Wait a minute, is that destruction intent? How is that possible? Everyone was stunned senseless. 351 just a mere ant. He's a great Emperor Realm expert. How is this possible? When Zhun Xuantian saw this, his eyes were filled with shock. He of all people should have known Yizan's strength best. When Zhun Lingtian had reported Yizan's matter to him, he had only felt that Yizan's talent was rather monstrous and was worthy of the Divine Gate Holy Land's attention. That was why he had acted to stop those King Realm experts who were interested in the Tower of Heaven, and gave him those 2 jade tokens to ensure his safety. However, he also gave the same level of treatment to other geniuses that he deemed had potential. Never in his wildest dreams had he expected one of those geniuses, within the span of a few years, to even exceed his own cultivation level. However, he was inwardly thankful that his assistance had earned the Divine Gate Holy Land favor with Yizan. This was a great Emperor Realm expert they were talking about. The pinnacle level of cultivation within the Tianyuan continent. Zhun Xuantian's heart was filled with complicated feelings. This revelation was simply too shocking. Hundreds of thousands of miles away from the center of the battlefield, Zhun Lingtian and Zhao Yuzhen also sensed the terrifying power. They looked at each other and saw the surprise and shock in each other's eyes. Who would have thought that Zhun Lingtian's outrageous guess was actually right? As expected, Yizan's strength couldn't be measured with common sense. Everything surrounding that person was simply miraculous. A human great Emperor Realm expert is interfering in the war between the 2 races. Do you humans want to fight a decisive battle with us? At this moment, a deafening voice suddenly rang out. This was the roar of a Sea Race Saint King Realm expert. Yizan was able to kill a Saint King in seconds, so his strength had undoubtedly reached the Great Emperor Realm. The other party had once again interfered in the war between the 2 races, which undoubtedly broke the rules. Although it was only a jade token, it still contained the unparalleled power of a Great Emperor Realm expert. A mere ant dares to order me around. Yizan looked at the Sea Race Saint King Realm expert expressionlessly and pointed his finger at him. A terrifying destructive force suddenly descended, instantly enveloping the expert with destruction intent. What are you doing? The Saint King Realm expert looked at Yizan in horror. He had never expected that Yizan would still dare to attack him. Was this fellow really not afraid of a complete fallout between the 2 races? Was he not afraid of destroying the Tianyuan continent? I'll kill you, Yizan said lightly. His body had already been engraved with 5 supreme intents, and his strength was far beyond that of ordinary Great Emperor Realm experts. Even the power stored within this phantom figure was enough to deal with this. After all, with the power of life intent and his tempered spiritual sense, the phantom figure could store more of his power. The Saint King Realm expert's expression changed drastically upon hearing this. However, when he tried to flee, he discovered that an invisible force had imprisoned him. Human Great Emperor, do you really want to start an all-out war with my race? We advise you to think about it carefully. Don't let your impulsiveness cause a great calamity. The Sea Race Saint King realm experts were incredulous. They had not expected Yi Zan to dare to act. Was he going to try and clear the battlefield like how he did before with the human king realm experts? Was he really going to risk an all-out war, and the potential destruction of the Tianyuan continent? In the past few years, the war had wreaked havoc on the southern territory, and countless human cultivators and ordinary people had died. However, in the eyes of the great emperors, the Tianyuan continent was so vast that it would be fine even if the Sea Race took over the Wangyu zone. After all, even within the southern territory, there were still hundreds of zones. As long as the war between the two races did not engulf more than two major territories, it would not threaten the foundation of the human race. However, Yi Zan could not be bothered to care about what those great emperors thought. Moments later, Yi Zan slowly stretched out his palm and made a slapping motion. Then, under the horrified gazes of many Sea Race experts, the Saint King realm expert who had spoken just now was reduced to dust, his body and soul vanishing into thin air. 352 Realm Passageway. The Wangyu zone fell silent. Whether it was in the spatial turbulence or the outside world, everyone was stunned. Yi Zan had not even hesitated. This guy was too ruthless. It was obvious that he did not care about the unspoken rules of Great Emperor realm experts not being allowed to interfere in the war. You've gone too far. You'll definitely suffer the wrath of Lord Ancient Black Dragon. Many of the Sea Race Heavenly King realm experts were enraged. Sure, Yi Zan was powerful, but they had their own Great Emperor realm experts too. You're all too noisy. Yi Zan glanced at them indifferently. Then, with a wave of his sleeve, his power drowned them all out. This guy is too terrifying. Let's run. We have to inform Lord Ancient Black Dragon about the situation here. The remaining King realm experts fled fearfully. From their perspective, Yi Zan had gone crazy and was likely about to start a massacre. What a pity. The power in this jade token is a little lacking. It's all gone after a few attacks, Yi Zan muttered to himself as he looked at the fleeing Sea Race experts. My precious disciple, it's all up to you now. Yi Zan's phantom figure looked at Shangguan Wanner and smiled. Then, his phantom figure slowly disappeared. In the deepest part of the endless sea, a burst of violent energy suddenly erupted, and a huge black dragon appeared. Damn it! Who is messing with my plan? Curses! I have to bring it forward. The ancient black dragon was extremely anxious. Earlier, the golden divine dragon had summoned him to the dragon race's main hall to investigate the two auras that had appeared in the Tianyuan continent. However, even with the combined efforts of many great emperor realm experts, they still failed to find the source of the two auras. However, at the same time, the golden divine dragon also found out that the ancient black dragon had ordered the sea race to attack the human race's territory. Even though the ancient black dragon had come up with a perfect excuse, the golden divine dragon was still a little suspicious. The ancient black dragon knew that the golden divine dragon would start investigating him soon. If he could not gather enough fate energy in time, the fragment would probably soon change owners. HMPH. Damned human. If I didn't have to prioritize heading to the upper world, I would hunt you down to the ends of the earth. The ancient black dragon forcefully suppressed the monstrous rage in his heart. He was far away in the endless sea, so he did not know who had interfered with his plan, but since the fragment had absorbed a large amount of fate energy, he could barely open the realm passageway. Moments later, dazzling black light blossomed from the ancient black dragon's body, and his spiritual sense swept out, controlling every tiny bit of power as best he could. He had to avoid the detection of the golden divine dragon, who was stronger than he was. Boom. After setting up many obstacles, the ancient black dragon took out the fragment carefully, and watched closely as mysterious power started gathering toward it. His spiritual sense formed a bubble around the fragment. Mysterious patterns were engraved on the fragment. When the ancient black dragon's power was infused into it, an ancient aura slowly awakened and condensed into a huge golden dragon. This was a fate dragon formed from fate energy. The fate energy, channeled through the fragment, would be able to open the realm passageway. Of course, it was impossible to open the realm passageway just by relying on the fate energy collected from the human race. However, the ancient black dragon had already secretly plundered a portion of the sea race's fate energy. Now, all he needed to do was to infuse the sea race's fate energy into the fragment, and the realm passageway would open. Incidentally, the act of infusing fate energy into the fragment would cause considerable damage to one's cultivation foundation. However, the ancient black dragon was not bothered by this. As long as he could ascend to the upper world, he would be able to quickly surpass the great emperor realm. Moreover, the golden divine dragon was already on guard against him, especially after finding out that he had ordered the sea race to attack the human race. As such, this was his only path forward. As long as he could step into the upper world, everything would be worth it. Whoosh. As the fate energy of the sea race and the fate energy of the dragon race were infused into it, the mysterious power contained in the fragment surged even more violently. The tough spatial barrier trembled. This time, even the ancient black dragon could not suppress the commotion caused by the fragment. Now, the fragment was fully charged and ready to go. Buzz. Moments later, the entire Tianyuan continent began to tremble, and the world became dark and colorless. At this moment, in the deepest part of the spatial turbulence, a light spot suddenly lit up. At the end of the light, there was a bright door of light that was connected to an unknown place. 353 Ascension, the system is sleeping. I've finally succeeded. The ancient black dragon's massive body trembled, and its eyes were filled with excitement. Moments later, the ancient black dragon transformed into a cold-looking man. His human form was undoubtedly more convenient to travel through the realm passageway. As expected, those old things have noticed it. Suddenly, a sneer appeared on the ancient black dragon's face. His spiritual sense detected many auras rushing in his direction. However, it was too late. The realm passage was just in front of him. Following that, the ancient black dragon's figure suddenly disappeared. He turned into a streak of light that charged toward the realm passageway. However, right at this moment, an invisible force suddenly descended and confined the ancient black dragon's body. What? The ancient black dragon's eyes narrowed and his expression changed. A man in white suddenly appeared in his field of vision, smiling. I'll kindly accept your opportunity. It was obviously Yi Zan. Human, how dare you? The ancient black dragon's eyes widened in rage, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness. However, Yi Zan's figure suddenly disappeared into the realm passageway. At the same time, the bright door closed. Damn it! Only the unwilling roar of the ancient black dragon could be heard in the distance. As soon as Yi Zan entered the realm passageway, he suddenly felt a mysterious force descend upon him. Sensing this, his spiritual sense and the power of his martial intent surged forth, creating a barrier to protect him. However, the power of the realm passageway was so terrifying that cracks appeared on Yi Zan's energy barrier in no time at all. At the same time, a system notification rang out in Yi Zan's mind. Ding! The host's ascension to the upper world has been detected. Currently analyzing the upper world's cultivation system and spiritual energy. Ding! As the host has yet to comprehend and fuse the 10 supreme intents, the system will forcefully merge with all of the host's power to preserve the host's life. Ding! Energy fusion is in progress. Ding! The energy fusion was successful. The host's current cultivation realm is now the Mystic Meridian realm. The upper world is known as the Mystic World and is considered a middle plane. There are countless smaller outer worlds below this middle plane, of which the Tianyuan continent is one of them. Ding! As for the other cultivation realms of the mystic world, the host is encouraged to discover them on his own. Ding! As the host forcefully ascended to the upper world, the system will proceed with the interplanar energy fusion. Ding! The interplanar energy fusion will consume a large amount of energy. During this period, the system will be dormant. The exact period of dormancy remains unknown. As soon as the system's notifications finished, Yi Zan's expression changed. He had not expected there to be so much trouble ascending to the upper world. At the same time, the power of the martial intents that Yi Zan had comprehended and the power of his spiritual sense suddenly merged, transforming into a new power that successfully resisted the terrifying pressure of the realm passageway. At this moment, a strong suction force suddenly appeared from the end of the realm passageway, pulling Yi Zan in. The Mystic World, East Continent, Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Plain Ascendance Shrine. In the shrine, there were 9 pillars engraved with dragons. These 9 pillars formed a mysterious formation. At this moment, the dim formation suddenly lit up. A surprised voice suddenly rang out in the shrine, followed by a flash of light, which revealed the figure of a white-robed old man. The old man's hair and beard were all white as well. This is the long-sealed Plain Ascendance Shrine of our sect. It has been millions of years since anyone from the lower planes ascended here. Why would it activate now? The old man immediately examined the formation, and the surprise in his eyes grew. Tianyuan continent, which lower plane was that? Why have I never heard of it? As the light from the mysterious formation grew brighter and brighter, a young man's figure slowly appeared. This person was Yi Zan. As soon as Yi Zan appeared, he sensed the rich spiritual energy of his surroundings, and his body started to greedily devour it. Is this the mystic world? Yi Zan muttered to himself. Congratulations, little friend, for ascending to the mystic world. At this moment, an old voice suddenly rang out in Yi Zan's ears. As soon as he finished speaking, the figure of the white-robed old man suddenly appeared in front of Yi Zan. And you are. Seeing this, Yi Zan's eyes narrowed slightly, and a hint of wariness flashed across his eyes. After ascending to the mystic world, the density of the spiritual energy had changed, and the cultivation realms here were different too. His cultivation level, which was originally unrivaled on the Tian Yuan continent, was now the mystic meridian realm, which was the lowest cultivation realm in the mystic world. At least for now, he could not sense the white-haired old man's cultivation level. Little friend, don't panic. This is the Ascendance Shrine of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. When one ascends from a lower plane, one will randomly appear in one of the various Ascendance Shrines in the mystic world. Coincidentally, you've appeared in the territory of my Great Wilderness Divine Sect, the white-haired old man said with a smile. Let me introduce myself. I'm Tian Zan, one of the 7 chiefs of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. The Great Wilderness Divine Sect. Tian Zan. Hearing this, Yi Zan could not help but raise his eyebrows slightly, a hint of doubt and confusion flashing across his eyes. Confusion is normal. After all, you've just ascended. Tian Zan sensed his confusion. Don't worry, I'll give you a brief rundown of the general situation of the mystic world. The mystic world is a middle plane in the myriad worlds. It is divided into 5 major continents. Besides the central continent, there are 4 other continents: East, West, South, and North. The place where we are currently is the East continent. After that, Tian Zan explained the other aspects of the mystic world to Yi Zan in detail. 354 Planar Embryo Fragment. After some time, Yi Zan gained a general understanding of the mystic world. The cultivation realms in the mystic world were divided into the mystic meridian realm, the divine mystic realm, the materialization realm, the void realm, the heaven realm, the mystic lord realm, the supreme realm, the ancient realm, and the sealed immortal realm. Each realm had 9 levels. In the myriad worlds, the mystic world was considered a middle plane, while the higher plane was the legendary immortal world. All of the cultivators of the mystic world pursued the legendary path of immortal ascension. Martial techniques here had another name. The cultivators of the mystic world called them divine powers. They were also divided into heaven, earth, mystic, and yellow ranks. As for cultivators' constitutions, it was categorized according to whether the cultivator had divine bones in their body. Senior Tian Zan, would you be able to help me examine the divine bones in my body? Yi Zan asked helplessly. Now that the system was dormant, he had no way to check his attributes. That won't be an issue, little friend, Tian Zan said with a smile. In fact, there was more than one Ascendance Shrine in the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. However, this one was a little special as it was built by the first sect master. It was a pity that millions of years ago, this Ascendance Shrine was damaged for some reason, and the cultivators from the lower planes were no longer able to ascend here. Since then, the Great Wilderness Divine Sect had given up on this Ascendance Shrine and sealed it. Although Tian Zan was one of the 7 chiefs of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, he was already old and close to the end of his lifespan. There was no hope of him ascending to the immortal world. However, Tian Zan had once obtained a secret scroll from the scripture depository of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, which recorded a prophecy left behind by the first sect master. Millions of years from now, the sealed shrine would open once again, and the child of destiny would descend from and rewrite the fate of the mystic world. As a result, Tian Zan had always kept an eye on this Ascendance Shrine, and had done so for the past thousands of years. Then, finally, Yi Zan came. However, he was not certain that Yi Zan was the child of destiny. Back then, in addition to that scroll, there was also something else. It was a palm-sized black transparent crystal. If Yi Zan could get the black crystal to light up, it would mean that he was the prophesied child of destiny. My young friend, I'll examine your divine bones now. As soon as he finished speaking, Tian Zan, and a mysterious power suddenly swept out and descended on Yi Zan. Yi Zan's body suddenly trembled, and dazzling light burst forth from his body. The meridian circulation route in his body suddenly appeared. At that moment, Tian Zan took out a stone pillar which was inlaid with many diamond-shaped crystals. This is a divine bone stone pillar. It can detect the divine bones in a cultivator's body. Little friend, you only need to place your hand on the stone pillar, Tian Zan said with a smile. Yizan nodded, then took a step forward and gently placed his palm on the stone pillar. However, what puzzled Tianzan was that the stone pillar did not change at all. How could this be? Could it be that the stone pillar is broken? Tianzan muttered to himself. Then, he took a step forward and placed his own palm on the stone pillar. Moments later, the dull stone pillar suddenly blossomed with light. At the same time, words suddenly appeared on the stone pillar. Ancient Fire Divine Bone. 6th level Divine Bone. Note: Divine Bones are divided into 9 levels, with the highest being level 9 and the lowest being level 1. There's no problem with mine. Why can't it detect yours? Tianzan's eyes were filled with doubt. Yizan felt embarrassed. This was impossible, right? He had just obtained the Chaos Divine Body on the Tianyuan continent. Even if all of his power had wilted away during his ascension, it should have been impossible for him not to have a single divine bone, right? Seeing this, Tianzan took a long look at Yizan. There were only 2 possibilities for the stone pillar to have no reaction to Yizan's touch. Yizan either did not have a divine bone in his body at all, and was a cultivator with an ordinary level of talent, or the divine bone in Yizan's body was so extraordinary that even the stone pillar could not detect it. The former was far more likely than the latter, though. The testing stone pillar he had used was an intermediate level 1, and could detect 1st to 6th level divine bones. Only advanced testing stone pillars could detect every divine bone. Under normal circumstances, if a cultivator with a 7th level divine bone were to test himself with an intermediate level stone pillar, the power of the divine bone should have instantly shattered the stone pillar, as opposed to not eliciting a reaction at all. Did this guy really not have a divine bone? Ahem, little friend, why don't you try again? Tianzan looked at Yizan awkwardly. After a moment of hesitation, he took out the black crystal. Little friend, you only need to drip your blood on this. As long as this crystal reacts to your blood, you can join the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. Yizan muttered to himself. He had just ascended to the mystic world, so it would be best if he could join a large sect. Moreover, the system was currently in a dormant state for an unknown period of time. Yizan took out a drop of blood essence and allowed it to drip onto the black crystal. In the next second, the ordinary-looking black crystal suddenly trembled, and mysterious ripples appeared on its surface. It then turned into a black streak of light and entered Yizan's forehead. As expected, he's the child of destiny I've been looking for. When Tianzan saw this, he became extremely excited. My young friend Yizan, would you be willing to acknowledge me as your master? Tianzan asked. From the conversation just now, he had already learned Yizan's name. However, Yizan was in a daze at that moment. After the black streak of light entered his body, a line of text suddenly appeared in his mind. Ding! Congratulations! The host has found a fragment of the mystic world's planar embryo, which has replenished a large amount of the system's energy. Ding! Please wait patiently, the system will be activated again in 100 years. What? That ugly black crystal was actually a fragment of this world's planar embryo. Yizan digested the information in his mind, and a hint of shock flashed across his eyes. My little friend Yizan, how about it? Seeing that Yizan did not respond, Tianzan called out again awkwardly. Yizan came back to his senses and looked at Tianzan. After thinking for a moment, he bowed respectfully to Tianzan. Teacher, please accept Yizan's bow. Good, good, good. Now I have a successor. Seeing this, Tianzan touched his white beard happily. Finding a successor before he died, and for that successor to be the prophesied child of destiny, he had no more regrets in life. Just like that, Yizan followed Tianzan back to the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. 355 The system awakens. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 100 years had passed. East Continent, Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Cloud Sky Peak. In an ancient wooden house, a young man in white sat cross-legged. Suddenly, the young man's eyes opened, and a bright light flashed across his pupils. 100 years have finally passed. The system was finally going to be reactivated. Through the window of the wooden house, one could see the immortal spiritual energy that filled the surrounding mountain peaks. From time to time, cultivators would fly past on flying swords, as well as those flying on cranes. It was just like how the stories about immortals had been described. It's a pity that Tianzan has already passed away, Yizan muttered to himself. Not long after he accepted Yizan as his disciple, Tianzan's lifespan came to an end and he passed away. However, before his death, Tianzan passed on the position of chief of Cloud Sky Peak to Yizan. However, considering Yizan's special status, he did not teach him any high-level cultivation methods. Suddenly, a crisp mechanical voice rang out in Yizan's mind. Ding! The system has absorbed enough energy and is in the process of awakening. Ding! The system has successfully awakened and is now in service of the host. Ding! The host can receive randomized critical rewards by taking in disciples, infusing spiritual power into them, or imparting various cultivation resources and heavenly treasures to them. The highest reward multiplier is 10,000x. Yizan's eyes brightened. Phew, I've endured humiliation for 100 years, and finally, this damn system has returned. Ding! The system status panel has changed. The host is advised to examine it. Oh, hearing this, Yizan immediately opened his attribute panel. Yizan, cultivation. Second level of the divine mystic realm, the mystic world's weakling. Divine powers. None. Divine bones. None, a rookie among rookies. It'll be difficult to achieve anything in his lifetime. Appearance. Indescribably handsome. Yizan's mouth twitched when he saw this. The system seemed to be asking for a beating after its upgrade. Ding! Congratulations! The host has advanced to the divine mystic realm and has obtained a great advancement gift bag. Would you like to open it? Of course I'll open it, Yizan said without hesitation. Ding! Congratulations! The host has received a yellow rank marrow cleansing pill and 50 years worth of cultivation. After the system notification ended, Yizan's body suddenly trembled as spiritual power suddenly surged into his dantian. Ah, how I've missed this feeling. Soon, Yizan's dantian completely digested the spiritual power, and he broke through to the third level of the divine mystic realm. Wait a minute, I received 50 years worth of cultivation, but only advanced one level. Yizan complained inwardly. Ding! As the host's body does not contain any divine bones, the host's level of talent is ordinary. As such, the host's cultivation speed naturally cannot be compared to the geniuses of the mystic world. It seemed that divine bones were really important. However, now that he had the system again, was there a need to be afraid of this shortcoming? Yizan looked at the marrow cleansing pill and fell into a state of deep thought. Although consuming this pill would help him, it would be more beneficial to use it on a disciple. Bang bang bang. At this moment, there was a sudden knock on the door. Chief Yizan, are you there? Hearing this, Yizan's eyes darkened, and then a smile appeared on his face. Come in, Yizan said. Greetings, Martial Uncle Yi. The person who entered was a handsome young man with a gentle and refined temperament. Yizan was no stranger to this man. He was a direct disciple of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Warufeng, and was considerably stronger than Yizan. He was gentle and elegant, and did not put on any airs. Furthermore, he was basically a shoo-in to become the successor of the sect master position of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. Therefore, Warufeng had a good relationship with the chiefs and the elders, and cultivators in the sect. In Yizan's opinion, this guy was a smart person. He had already made the necessary connections and relationships before taking up the leadership position. Martial Uncle Yi, teacher asked me to inform you that we're about to hold a meeting and to invite you to head over. Did senior brother mention what this meeting was about? Yizan asked. Tianzan loved peace and quiet and did not build a proper residence on Cloud Sky Peak other than this wooden house, which was quite run down and dilapidated. Could something big have happened? Warufeng hesitated for a moment and then said, yesterday, berserk beasts attacked the village at the foot of the mountain and killed numerous villagers. Although the sect's cultivators reacted quickly and killed many of them, there were almost no survivors. Only a few lucky ones were brought back to the sect. Teacher called for a meeting to discuss how to deal with the berserk beasts, as well as how to deal with the survivors. I see. Yizan nodded in realization. Honestly, it was not too hard to deal with the survivors. They could simply test them for divine bones and put them in the outer sect. However, had this happened before today, Yizan would probably not have been interested. Now that the system had awakened, this was a great opportunity to take in a disciple. 356 looked down upon. All right, I've got it, you may leave now. Yizan waved his hand. All right, Martial Uncle Yi, Rufeng will take his leave first. Rufeng bowed respectfully and then left the wooden house. As he left, he briefly glanced at the dilapidated wooden house on Cloud Sky Peak, a strange light flashing across his eyes. 10 minutes later, Yizan strolled out of the room with a smile on his face. With a wave of his sleeve, Yi Zan took out the only weapon Tianzan had him, the Cloud Sky Sword. It was a supreme grade black rank magic artifact. The classification of artifacts in the mystic world was, from high to low, heaven, earth, black and yellow ranks. Each rank was further divided into low, middle, high, and supreme grades. Thanks to the realm passageway, everything Yi Zan possessed had been transformed into energy by the system to preserve his life. Although he still had the cultivation methods and martial techniques of the Tianyuan continent in his mind, the difference in the spiritual energy of the two planes meant that they were not suited for use in the mystic world. It was precisely because of this that every cultivator who ascended from a lower plane would experience the baptism of the plane's power when they passed through the realm passageway, reconstructing their meridians. In this way, the cultivators could quickly adapt to the spiritual energy of the plane after they ascended. However, that was only for cultivators who had surpassed the Great Emperor realm. Yi Zan had ascended with the help of the realm passageway opened up by the fragment. Were it not for the system's assistance, he would have died there. As for the baptism, it was also done by the system. It was truly fortunate that he had the system. The ancient black dragon would have probably died. After that, Yi Zan used the sword controlling technique of the sect to travel to the meeting hall. As soon as he stepped into the hall, Yi Zan saw many people in tattered clothes. These were most likely the villagers who had survived the attack. I say, junior brother Yi, you've got quite some courage there, making me and senior brother Gongsun wait for you for so long. Before Yi Zan could sit down, he was admonished in a chiding tone by the chief of the Hidden Sword Peak, Gao Shun, who was also the law enforcement elder of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. Hearing this, Yi Zan could not help but raise his eyebrows. This old man was quite good at stirring up trouble. However, he was also clear that many of the chiefs looked down on him. Yi Zan did not bother to look at them, and simply turned to the sect master of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Gongsun Shoyu. Senior brother Gongsun, I'm sorry. The Cloud Sky Peak is a fair distance from the meeting hall. Please forgive me for the delay. No problem. Gongsun Shoyu smiled and waved his hand. Although he did not think much of Yi Zan in his heart, as the sect master, he still had to be magnanimous. After Gao Shun realized that he had been ignored by Yi Zan, his expression turned extremely ugly. HMPH. You're just a mere second-level divine mystic realm cultivator, yet you dare to act so arrogantly in front of me. How did a piece of trash like you get chosen by martial uncle Tianzan? You don't even have a divine bone. If there's one thing you have, it's unwarranted luck. In my opinion, you are the biggest mistake that martial uncle Tianzan has made. In the eyes of the other chiefs, Tianzan would never have passed on the position of chief to Yi Zan had he not been nearing death. In addition, Yi Zan's body did not contain any divine bones, and according to Tianzan, Yi Zan was a disciple he took in by chance, not a disciple from some noble family. As such, most of the cultivators from the sect looked down on Yi Zan. When the 7 chiefs sat down, the survivors in the hall had a mixture of hope and sadness on their faces. As citizens of the mystic world, all of them yearned for the path of cultivation, hoping that they possessed the talent to cultivate and eventually become immortals. Taoist masters, please seek justice on our behalf. At this moment, a young man suddenly walked out of the crowd and knelt down in front of Yi Zan and the others, crying bitterly. With him taking the lead, the other youths around him followed suit, hoping that Gongsun Shoyu would stand up for them. As powerless commoners, how could they resist the attacks of those ferocious beasts? Although they had survived, they had also witnessed the deaths of their family members and loved ones. Suddenly, while the young man was drowning in his sorrow, an obscure aura briefly flashed across his forehead. It was barely noticeable to ordinary people, but it was clear as day to the chiefs. The eyes of the chiefs lit up when they saw this. There was an unpolished jade among these mortals. This was really rare. I'm already aware of what happened to all of you, and I'm also very regretful that things turned out this way. However, what has passed, and you all have to look forward. All right, quickly get up. Gongsun Shoyu, who had spoken words of pity and empathy, sighed deeply. After the beast attack in the village yesterday, he had sent many disciples to investigate. However, the strange thing was that they could not find the source of the beast attack. Helpless, he could only call all of the chiefs together to discuss the matter of dealing with the survivors. As for the beast attack, since it happened within our sect's territory, we will investigate it thoroughly. Gongsun Shoyu looked at Yi Zan and the others beside him, and then continued, after a preliminary investigation by our sect, we hope to be able to find the source and cause of the attack. Don't be anxious in the meantime. Before the truth is discovered, you can choose to stay in the sect to cultivate. Once we've discovered the truth, we will definitely inform you. Among the survivors, there was a young girl with a dirty face named Zug Yuyu. When Zug Yuyu heard Gongsun Shoyu's words, her tears fell like rain, and her face was filled with despair. When she thought of the scene of her parents dying at the hands of those beasts, her heart was filled with incomparable pain. She hated herself for being powerless. However, if she could step onto the path of cultivation and become a powerful cultivator, she would be able to avenge her parents. Zug Yuyu knew very well that Gongsun Shoyu and the others were just saying things for the sake of posterity. They would not truly help her seek justice. She could only rely on herself to avenge her parents. However, at least Gongsun Shoyu still gave her a way forward, which was to stay in the Great Wilderness Divine Sect and study under a master. 357. A useless teacher and a useless disciple. Junior brothers, what do you think? At this moment, Gongsun Shoyu's gaze fell on the other chiefs. Gongsun Shoyu's meaning was self-evident. It was now time for the chiefs to choose their disciples. Those who were talented might be able to become a disciple of a chief, while those who were not would probably end up as servant disciples, tasked with cleaning the sect. Of course, before Zug Yuyu and the others came in, Warufeng had already made things clear to them. Because of this, they did not harbor much hope in becoming the disciples of any of the chiefs. Ha ha ha, since senior brother Gongsun, then junior brother will naturally have to go first. Gao Shun walked out very quickly, his eyes sparkling as he looked at that youth who spoke just now. Seeing Gao Shun make his move, Liang Dahai, the Hidden Spirit Peaks chiefs, could no longer restrain himself. Liang Dahai dragged his bloated body and hurriedly walked out as well. Before Gao Shun could open his mouth to continue, he said, Senior brother Gongsun, I feel that this young man has an affinity with my Hidden Spirit Peak. I think it's best that he comes under my wing. The rest of the chiefs did not buy it at all. This damn fatty had always been like this when he took in disciples. Did he really think that they were fools? Junior brother Liang, it's first come, first served. I spotted this young man first, Gao Shun said with some dissatisfaction. So what if you've taken a fancy to him first? Is everything you lay your eyes on yours? What kind of twisted logic is this? What's wrong? You're not convinced. Do you want to fight? Fine, I'll fight you. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Gao Shun had a bad temper and could not hold it in any longer. In the entire Great Wilderness Divine Sect, other than Gongsun Shoyu and the Tianzan, he did not fear anyone. If Gongsun Shoyu had not intervened in time, the two might have really fought. Among the chiefs, Gao Shun and Liang Dahai were indeed the strongest. The other chiefs knew that they would not be able to compete with these two, so they could only choose among the remaining survivors. Although their levels of talent were comparatively worse, it was better than nothing. After the selection, there were still a few youths with mediocre levels of talent who were not selected. They stood alone in the hall. This included Zug Yuyu. Zug Yuyu felt very unwilling. Was her level of talent really that bad? Why was there not a single person willing to choose her? If she could not embark on the path of cultivation, how was she going to avenge her parents? Just as she was about to give in to despair, an indescribably handsome man in white suddenly appeared in front of her. At that moment, Zug Yuyu seemed to see a ray of light in the darkness, illuminating her entire world. Zug Yuyu immediately raised her head to look at the young man. It was the young man who sat at the edge of the various chiefs. You, what's your name? Yi Zan asked gently. Zug Yuyu said uneasily. Yuyu, ha, Yi Zan muttered to himself. Looking at this girl, Yi Zan could not help but think of Yu, who had been left behind on the Tianyuan continent. The two girls' traumatic experiences were quite similar, and they even had the word, Yu, in their names. Forget it. Since it's fate, I'll accept it. Little girl, are you willing to become my disciple? Yi Zan asked softly. I'm willing. Zug Yuyu greets teacher. When Zug Yuyu heard this, she knelt down without any hesitation. Her eyes filled with excitement. In her moment of despair, it was Yi Zan's appearance that brought her hope for a new life. As long as she could become a proper disciple, she would be able to embark on the path of cultivation, and avenge her parents in the future. Although her teacher looked extremely young, to be able to become a chief of the sect, he had to be a powerful cultivator. Since you've entered my tutelage, you can follow me. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Zan left the hall with his hands behind his back and an indifferent expression. Zug Yuyu saw this and quickly followed. Just as she was about to leave the hall, she heard a mocking voice. Hee hee, what a joke. A useless teacher and a useless disciple, what a great pair. What the predecessors said is indeed true. Birds of a feather really flock together. The Cloud Sky Peak is Martial Uncle Tien Zan's legacy. I'm afraid it's going to be destroyed in the hands of Yi Zan, this piece of trash. When Zhu Yuyu heard this, she was puzzled. Just then, Yi Zan suddenly stopped in his tracks and looked at Zhu Yuyu. Teacher, what's wrong? Zhu Yuyu asked subconsciously when she noticed that Yi Zan had suddenly stopped. Little girl, I'm sure you've heard what they said just now. What are your thoughts? When Zhu Yuyu heard this, she was confused and angry at the same time. Even though he was the chief of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, what right did Gao Shun have to insult her teacher? No matter what Yi Zan's strength was, he was still her teacher, an existence that brought hope to her when she was in despair. It was fine for others to insult her, but she would never allow anyone to insult her teacher. Teacher, even though I've only just become your disciple, I live by the saying that a teacher for a day is a father for life. It was teacher who brought me hope amidst my despair. No matter how difficult and dangerous the future is, you will stand by teacher's side for the rest of my life. I won't embarrass you, teacher. Teacher, I'll definitely work hard and prove myself with my strength. I'll show them just who is trash. Zhu Yueyu's eyes were filled with determination. Hearing this, Yi Zan displayed a gratified smile. As expected of the disciple that I took a fancy to. Just now, in the meeting hall, Yi Zan knew that with his current strength, he would definitely not be able to compete with the other chiefs for those talented cultivators. However, with the awesome system, his disciple's level of talent was not particularly important. As such, he focused on those who were not selected, and were definitely in the pits of despair. His appearance would become their saving grace, and would guarantee their loyalty. 358 1000x multiplier. Well said. Cultivators are supposed to struggle against the heavens, so why should we care about what others say? Come with me. Yi Zan smiled. With a wave of his sleeve, he took out the Cloud Sky Sword, and brought Zhu Yuyu along to Cloud Sky Peak. Along the way, Zhu Yuyu looked at the fleeting mountain peaks and clouds around her. Her heart was filled with nervousness and anticipation. After all, everyone from the mystic world yearned to tread the path of cultivation. She also felt a trace of happiness from this. After the tragedy that had befallen her, she finally had a glimpse of hope. Although her teacher seemed to be looked down upon by the other chiefs, he had remained calm and composed, which was befitting of a true cultivator. Soon, Yi Zan returned to Cloud Sky Peak with Zhu Yuyu, landing on the only courtyard residence on the mountain peak. The courtyard was simple and crude, with a few dilapidated wooden houses around it. We're here. Yi Zan walked over to the wooden house calmly. Although my residence is relatively simple, it can temper a cultivator's mind. It will be of great help to you on your cultivation path in the future. Yi Zan was obviously spouting nonsense. However, he could utter such words in a believable manner thanks to his experience with you and the others. That being said, compared to the other peaks of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Cloud Sky Peak was indeed very poor and lacking. This was because Tien Zan had devoted himself to cultivation, so he had only accepted Yi Zan as a disciple before his death. In other words, before Yi Zan, Tien Zan lived alone on Cloud Sky Peak. Yuyu will remember teacher's teachings. Zhu Yuyu nodded in agreement, her eyes brimming with determination. In this courtyard, besides the small wooden house in the middle, you can choose anyone as your residence. From today onward, you'll be my 5th disciple and the only successor of Cloud Sky Peak. I'm sure you're very confused as to why there is no one around me, yet you're my 5th disciple, Yi Zan said with a smile. I am. Zhu Yuyu did not hide her suspicions. You are indeed my first disciple in the mystic world, but you have 4 senior sisters on another plane. They are just temporarily unable to come to the mystic world, Yi Zan explained. Although he did not know when his other 4 disciples would be able to ascend to the mystic world, he still had to make things clear. As for the difference between planes, you will understand it in the future, Yi Zan explained when he saw Zhu Yueyu's confused expression. Alright, teacher. Hearing Yi Zan's words, not only did Zhu Yueyu not mind, but she was also very happy. She had originally thought that she would be all alone after her parents passed away. Now, not only did she have a teacher, but she also had 4 senior sisters whom she had never met before. Perhaps this would become her new family. Since you've entered my tutelage, you'll have to cultivate properly in the future. Teacher, please rest assured. I will definitely not embarrass you. Yi Zan nodded. All right. As my disciple, you'll naturally receive a welcome gift. This is a marrow cleansing pill. Consume it and it will wash away the impurities in your body. It will increase your sensitivity to the spiritual energy of the world and increase your cultivation speed. Then, Yi Zan took out the marrow cleansing pill he had received from the system and gave it to Zhu Guoyu. Zhu Guoyu looked at the pill in her hand in shock. Teacher, is this really for me? She had just become a disciple, yet he had already given her such a precious treasure as a gift. Before they entered the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Hua Rufeng had explained to them that in order to go further on the path of immortal cultivation, there was one thing that was extremely important besides the cultivator's aptitude and talent, which was cultivation resources and heavenly treasures. However, these precious items were basically controlled by the various chiefs. Even the sect master did not give these out freely. After all, these things were not easy to obtain and were extremely precious. Zhu Guoyu had never expected that her teacher would be so generous. Many thanks, teacher. I won't let you down. After that, Zhu Guoyu swallowed the marrow cleansing pill without hesitation. She felt a warm current flowing through her body, washing away the impurities in her body. Very quickly, a layer of sticky substance appeared on her skin, which were the impurities in her body. There's a hot spring behind Cloud Sky Peak. You can go there and wash up, Yi Zan kindly reminded her. Many thanks, teacher. I'll go and wash up first. When Zhu Guoyu heard this, she covered her face shyly and fled. At this moment, a system notification suddenly rang out in Yi Zan's mind. Ding! As the host has given his disciple a marrow cleansing pill, supreme grade, yellow rank, the host has received a randomized 1000x critical reward. Congratulations! The host has obtained the heavenly marrow pill, supreme grade earth rank. Yi Zan's eyes brightened. The system was indeed different after the upgrade. A 1000x multiplier right off the bat. 359 birth of a divine bone. The heavenly marrow pill was a supreme grade earth rank pill, and its medicinal effect was thousands of times better than the marrow cleansing pill. As long as he consumed it, it could greatly improve his aptitude and level of talent. Tisk, 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 it feels so good to have the cheat-like system back again. This girl is really my lucky star. A 1000 times multiplier. Looking at the heavenly marrow pill that had appeared in the system storage space, Yi Zan was full of smiles. Suddenly, an idea came to Yi Zan's mind. After a while, Zhu Guoyu returned. Teacher, I'm fine now, she said. Yi Zan nodded, and then continued, I thought about it just now. Although the marrow cleansing pill can remove the impurities in your body and allow you to better sense the world's spiritual energy, if you want to become an outstanding person among your peers, it's still lacking. It just so happens that I have a heavenly marrow pill. As long as you take it, your body will undergo a major transformation. Under normal circumstances, there was a cooldown period of 1 month for the system's rewards when giving the same category of items to the same disciple. However, after the system upgrade, there was a free and unconditional reward. In other words, if he gave the heavenly marrow pill to Zhu Guoyu, he would still receive a reward from the system. When Zhu Guoyu heard this, she was stunned. Was her teacher joking? Why was he being so nice to her? More importantly, if her teacher had such a precious high-grade pill, why did he not consume it himself? Her heart was filled with gratitude. Perhaps her teacher did not want him to be looked down upon by her peers, or perhaps he wanted her to become stronger as soon as possible so that she could avenge her parents. Then, she recalled those words back at the meeting hall. She clenched her fist and her eyes turned cold. HMPH. I'll engrave the insults you've hurled at teacher in my heart. Once I'm strong enough, I will definitely seek justice for teacher. Zhu Guoyu swore inwardly and accepted Yi Zan's pill. I will remember teacher's great kindness and do my best to make you proud. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhu Guoyu tried to kneel down in front of Yi Zan. Silly girl, since you're my disciple, these things are only what you deserve. Don't think too much about it and just take the pill. Yi Zan did not know what Zhu Guoyu was thinking. What he cared about was what kind of reward he would receive from the system this time. Zhu Guoyu nodded and took the pill. Moments later, an extremely dense and warm current suddenly surged into her body. As Zhu Guoyu's impurities had been cleared by the earlier, the medicinal power of the heavenly marrow pill was used to transform her meridians. Originally, Zhu Guoyu's level of talent was average, and she did not have any divine bones in her body. However, Thanks to the heaven-defying effect of the heavenly marrow pill, a new divine bone was born in the deepest part of Zhuge Yueyu's meridians. Furthermore, it was the extremely rare profound ice divine bone. When Yizan saw this, he was shocked. The profound ice divine bone was of the highest quality among the divine bones and far surpassed the divine bone of the young man in the hall. As expected of the heavenly marrow pill, its medicinal power was really heaven-defying. Ding. As the host has given his disciple a heavenly marrow pill, the host has received a randomized 99x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has obtained the profound marrow pill. Ding. As the host has already used one free reward chance, the reward cooldown period has been reinstated. Profound marrow pill. This is good stuff. Although he only had one chance to use the free reward chance, Yizan was already very satisfied. In the past 100 years, Yizan had suffered countless grievances in the Cloud Sky Peak. If Zhuge Yueyu was not beside him, he would have laughed openly without caring about his image. Still, the profound marrow pill was only the beginning. Beside him, Zhuge Yueyu's cultivation aptitude was being transformed by the heavenly marrow pill. After a long time passed, Zhuge Yueyu finally finished digesting the medicinal power of the pill. Her eyes were filled with shock when she examined the huge changes her body had undergone. She now had a divine bone. Zhuge Yueyu had never expected that her teacher would use such a precious pill that allowed her body to give birth to a high-level divine bone despite only just having become his disciple. How could she repay such a great favor? Thank you, teacher. I will never forget kindness. Zhuge Yueyu did not know how to express the gratitude in her heart. With this divine bone, her cultivation speed would definitely improve by leaps and bounds, and there would be hope for her to avenge her parents. It's just a small matter. There's no need to say anything more. Quickly, get up, Yizan said with a smile as he looked at Zhuge Yueyu, who was kneeling on the ground. Every 60 years, the Great Wilderness Divine Sect will hold a 7 Peaks competition. As the first disciple of Cloud Sky Peak, you are naturally the only candidate from our side who can participate. I hope that you can represent Cloud Sky Peak and get a good ranking in the competition 3 months from now, Yizan continued. Before the system's awakening, he had not bothered much with the sect's affairs. However, things were different now. His awesome cheat-like system had awakened, so he had to show off. Moreover, participating in this competition would improve Yueyu's combat experience and awareness. 360 Chaos Heart Technique. Don't worry, teacher. I won't let you down, Zhuge Yueyu said with a determined look. Since his teacher placed so much importance on the competition, she had to get a good ranking no matter what. Now that she had awakened the profound ice divine bone, which was constantly nourishing her meridians, although she could not guarantee that she could win first place in the competition, getting a good ranking was definitely within her capabilities. Very good. No matter what the result is, don't lose heart. Yizan nodded in satisfaction. The profound ice divine bone has already awakened in your body, and you're now a first-level mystic meridian realm cultivator. You have also passed the most crucial hurdle, which is to sense and refine spiritual energy. As soon as he finished speaking, Yizan took out a cultivation method. This is the legacy cultivation technique of Cloud Sky Peak. It's called the Cloud Sky Treasure Manual. With your current level of talent, it won't be difficult for you to cultivate it. Of course, if you encounter any problems, you can come to me at any time. All right, teacher. Zhuge Yueyu nodded her head respectfully and took the Cloud Sky Treasure Manual. Her eyes were filled with excitement. This cultivation method would be her first step on the path of immortal cultivation. After that, Yizan taught Zhuge Yueyu the cultivation method, as well as briefed her on some basic things to know as a cultivator. All right, go ahead and cultivate. Oh right. From today onward, when the first wisp of purple aura rises in the east, you must come to the mountain peak to cultivate. There are 3 major tasks for you to complete every day, which is to cultivate, learn about the mystic world, and study divine powers. When you break through to the divine mystic realm, I will teach you the Cloud Sky Sword technique. Yueyu nodded her head. Then, Yizan continued, I'll be going into seclusion for the next few days. If you encounter any bottlenecks in your cultivation, don't be anxious or impulsive. Wait for me to come out and resolve them. All right, teacher. You may leave now. After that, Zhuge Yueyu left the small wooden house and returned to her own residence. As soon as she returned to her room, Zhuge Yueyu opened the Cloud Sky Treasure Manual impatiently and started to examine the cultivation method. Within just a few minutes, Zhuge Yueyu had gained a basic grasp of the cultivation method, and was already able to mobilize the spiritual energy in the surroundings and draw it into her body. She then began to circulate around her body and refine it into spiritual power. She really wanted to reach the divine mystic realm as soon as possible and give her teacher a pleasant surprise. While Zhuge Yuyu was cultivating, Yi Zhan had already left the courtyard and arrived at a cave on the mountain peak. This cave was a cultivation abode prepared by Tian Zhan. It was also the place with the densest spiritual energy on Cloud Sky Peak. When Yi Zhan entered the cave, a system prompt rang out in his mind. Ding! As the host has given his disciple the Cloud Sky Treasure Manual, the host has received a randomized 9,999x critical reward. Congratulations! The host has obtained the Divine Grade Chaos Heart Technique. Whoa! A 9,999x multiplier. Yi Zhan was completely stunned. The cultivation methods in the mystic world were divided into heaven, earth, black, and yellow. This divine grade cultivation technique that he had just obtained had clearly exceeded this limit. This system upgrade was really awesome. At the same time, countless insights suddenly appeared in Yi Zhan's mind. It was extremely obscure and difficult to understand. However, thanks to the system, he immediately gained a grasp of the basics. Moreover, if he used the cultivation method in conjunction with the profound marrow pill, he might be able to advance his cultivation all the way to the materialization realm. Thinking this, Yi Zhan took out the profound marrow pill he had just obtained, smiling. Ha ha ha, the good days are finally going to start rolling again. As Yi Zhan took the pill, a surge of medicinal power flowed through his body, and almost caused his meridians to burst. FCK. It truly is as expected of a supreme grade heaven rank pill. Its medicinal power is so strong, I almost died. As Yi Zhan was only a third-level divine mystic realm cultivator, the meridians in his body were still rather fragile. As the terrifying medicinal power of the pill coursed through his body, blood seeped out of Yi Zhan's meridians and even his limbs and bones. His expression was one of extreme pain. After a long time, the terrifying medicinal power of the profound marrow pill finally cleansed all of the impurities inside Yi Zhan's body. It then turned into a warm current and poured into Yi Zhan's dantian. In the depths of his dantian, a divine golden lotus slowly condensed. Yi Zhan's expression changed drastically when he saw this. Although his cultivation had not improved much in the past 100 years, Tian Zhan had taught him a lot of knowledge about the mystic world and about cultivation. The golden lotus of the Great Tao. Could this be the legendary Great Tao Constitution? If one were to say that those who possessed God's bones could be called geniuses among cultivators, those with Great Tao constitutions were existences that were unique throughout the ages. The Great Tao Constitution that Yi Zhan had awakened was one of the top constitutions among the human race. Most importantly, with the golden lotus of the Great Tao, Yi Zhan's affinity with the Great Tao would increase tremendously. No matter what kind of profound divine power it was, he would only need to take a glance before being able to completely grasp its intricacies. Not only that, the golden lotus of the Great Tao would continue to absorb the power of the world, which would then be channeled back to Yi Zhan, helping him to improve his cultivation level. How could any divine bone compare to such a terrifying ability? Any divine bone compare